Alright, hey guys, so I just recently picked this up. It's an elastic cummerbund from a company called A&A Tactical. The name that they've given this thing is the SEACU Cummerbund. Streamlined elastic ammunition carrying unit. You can see it carries quite a bit more than ammunition. So I figured I'd start off with a brief sample of what fits, and then we'll go into how to use this thing. So up front here, we've got a variety of ordnance. We've got a thermite grenade, a M18 smoke grenade. This is one of the Enola Gay smoke grenades for the people who I'm sure are going to pick this up, airsofters or anybody that doesn't want to deal with having to buy actual ordnance. And then a flashbang grenade here, Mark 13. This one probably fits the best of all these. Sits down nice and deep, the spoon is protected, and you can still get it out fairly easy. Once it's on your vest and on your body, it'll snug up a little bit. These, I would wager, are going to be almost impossible to get out of here, and definitely impossible to reload when this thing is tight on your body. And then in the back row here, some even goofier examples of things that it can carry. So it'll fit a thermocell, which isn't a terrible idea for anybody wearing this for more recreational purposes. It'll fit Glock Happy Mags. Got a 40 round P mag back here, which you can see fully seated in the pouch, leaves plenty of room to get a grip on that thing. Surefire G2 in the pistol compartment, a green laser in the pistol compartment, and then if you're really feeling squirrely, you can fit a block of C4 in here. I'd probably recommend a half block. This is a little tall. And then you can set a initiator in here. Obviously I wouldn't carry that next to the C4, but you can fit a full shock tube, blasting cap, and igniter setup in here. You probably do double strand if you had the right amount of shock tube and you fit it in there ahead of time. This would be easy enough to pull out. Obviously it's one big pull loop. You know, the C4, as hokey as that is, would be easy enough to get out of there. And then your laser and Surefire come out fairly easily. The Glock mags, I would go extended pistol mags in here if you're going to run pistol mags. If you have a regular capacity magazine in there, it's going to sit pretty deep. You can see on the bottom here, each pouch is open all the way through to the retainer on the bottom. You can see both the pistol mag and the P mag in there, and they sit, basically this is elastic too, so you can sit it pretty far in there before it bottoms out. You can see the same thing going on over here with the ordnance. The flashbang sits in there pretty well. The Enola Gay bottoms out before it gets to the lid, or once it gets to the lid, so that sits in there as deep as you want it. And then these, I wouldn't recommend putting either of these in here. They don't fit very well at all. Other things that you could fit in there if you wanted to, your multi-tool will fit in the pistol part, no worries there, and it'll hold a little bit tighter. And then if you wanted some signaling items, you fit like a cut-down VS17 panel and a MS2000 strobe in there pretty easily in the back compartment. Alright, so I'm doing this in a little bit of backwards order, and I've never done any video editing before, so we'll see how this turns out. I've got everything pulled out of here that I had loaded before, so I can show you guys what the unit consists of. So when I ordered it, I specified the length based on the cummerbund I was currently using, and I requested these paracord pull tabs. I have no specific reason why I asked for that. The cummerbund I was using already had those, and I like the feature, but take it or leave it. There's no real loss if you don't get that option. So this unit, you get 2 of these with your purchase. I don't know exactly what price they're going to go for, and I wouldn't want to quote one anyways. I did pay for these, and I got a Memorial Day deal, but I don't know if I got a price break other than that. So two copied units. Due to the length of mine, I ended up getting a 4-cell. each cell being the back M4 compatible and the front pistol compatible. A&A Tactical has plenty of pictures up showing 4 of each magazine in here. It fits that easy peasy, no questions there. It's pretty well made. I don't have any complaints about the construction on this thing. It all seems like good solid mil-spec material. It does have the multi-cam tag on the elastics. I assume it's genuine materials. It's also made in America, so there's really no reason why it wouldn't be genuine multi-cam. The webbing is all legit webbing, and the materials are what you would expect from a quality tactical item. I do have one complaint though. When I went and set this thing up for the vest, the Cummerbund that it was replacing, so I wish that when this was made that one portion of the Velcro had been shorter than the other. So having this full-size Velcro on one end is great for giving you plenty of adjustability in case you kind of swag the measurements like I did. I wish that this one was about 3 inches long. When you secure it up front, you get kind of a goofy overlap, and depending on what you're using for your front flap, that might affect things. So I wish this had been probably half as long as this, and that would also help, you know, not have any soft side Velcro hanging out from the end of your Cummerbund flap, and give you a little bit more flexibility once you get your adjustments set in the back, so that if you had different layers on, you could pull it tighter or loosen it up a little bit without really throwing off the location of the stuff in the pouches here. Alright, so here's the Cummerbund installed on the vest I initially got it for. As you can see what I'm talking about in the front here, so these are butted up right in the middle, and I still have about 1 inch of Velcro hanging off the side. Now it doesn't seem like a huge deal, but once you close the flap and have your plate carrier on, if it's at the height that it should be, this thing's riding pretty high. Basically the first cell, at least for me, and maybe my arms and my torso are goofy, is the only truly usable cell. Now if you're using this for subgun mags, those aren't too bad because they fit a little bit looser in here, and you don't have to get quite as good a grip on it to be able to retrieve it from the pouch. You probably use the first 2 cells without issue. I did throw some subgun mags in here, the long Glock mags, and they're pretty easily accessible. The 45 round P or the 40 round P mags, I definitely wouldn't want to go 2 cells back on those, mostly because they're going to be riding in your armpits. 30 round mags aren't too bad, but then you have a lot less to grab onto. In the back, and I know this has been addressed on the manufacturer's Facebook page, is that you can get different attachment methods for the back. So this vest uses a sleeve that goes all the way through, so straight Velcro on the back was fine on that. When I ordered that, I didn't think it'd be a big deal because it fits the vest that I ordered it for. That's about it. It'll fit like your Eagle plate carriers, your Faro rigs, which this is. Granted, it's a one-off that's several years old now. And it'll fit anything with the back sleeve. I didn't realize how rare those actually are anymore. So scarabs, which are getting more and more popular. You could not throw one of those on a scarab because these are routed internally. Now that's an easy fix at the time of ordering, but it's going to be limited to the scarab, then possibly a JPC type setup, and your LV MBAV, it might fit in that. But just take note when you're ordering what vests you might possibly want to throw it on, and make that consideration at the time. Alright, so when I initially ordered this thing, like I said, I had planned on throwing it into my Faro plate carrier, which was fine. It works great. The elastic Cummerbund idea is not a bad one as far as fit goes. It provides a really good fit. You don't have to spend as long adjusting it to get it snug, but not too snug. So no complaints there, no complaints on the build. I'm just getting the value out of the cells, for me at least, is kind of a losing battle on a plate carrier worn as high as I feel like it should be. Now what I hadn't realized when I got this is that it'll also fit my first Spear sleeper here. I love the sleeper. It fits Bulk's armor really well. It's very lightweight. It's super comfortable, and conveniently I use this for most stateside work that I do. I'm not high speed by any stretch, but I do have a legitimate need for armor anytime I'm actually working, and I use this now instead of the stock sleeper cummerbund. You see that also mates up with Velcro, has a good portion of elastic here, and then it's got these, I believe they're two-way stretch pockets. So what I typically use those for are some medical supplies. So I threw in, I don't typically carry 4 tourniquets on me, but I threw in a cat and then a soft tee. I don't know if this is the wide or not, I apologize, just to see if they'd fit, and they do. So fun fact there if you're thinking about buying a sleeper. But they also fit in the mag pockets on the A&A Tactical Cummerbund. So what that gives me now is a little bit more flexibility in my setup here. I can throw a soft tee on the front there and a Surefire on top of that. I will say, even if this stuff fits in here, you're not getting it back in there easily. It's pretty alright for my use though. Once I need it and use it, I'll typically throw it back in a cargo pocket until I take the vest off. But at least it keeps it out of my way until I actually need it. So I can fit the Surefire in there pretty easily. I can throw my, my Gerber crimpers in there. I can put some Quick Clot in one of these. So it basically doubles my carrying capacity from the stock cummerbund, which is actually surprisingly useful. I hadn't considered that when I got it. I'm kind of happy that that worked out, because I think I like this on here better than I like it on the Pharaoh in the first place. So you can see those tools fit in there real well. You might even be able to fit a smaller digital camera in those M4 pockets, which I end up using a camera basically anytime I use this thing. It'll also fit some of your bigger or your smaller full screen GPS units. Granted, you start running the risk of, if it's too small of an item, coming out the bottom, but I haven't had that issue with anything that I've tried in there. You could also do a bundle of chem lights in here. Individual chem lights might find their way out of the bottom, but if you had them zip tied together, you probably don't run that risk, and it'll hold those pretty well if you don't want them dangling off your kit, or you don't have some reason to wear a full-blown gun vest or gun belt. So one other thing that I wanted to point out on here that I had forgotten to before is the First Spear cummerbund that comes with this thing has these, there's no exposed Velcro on the cummerbund flap. So if I wanted to use a placard on here, or one of these Spiritus System micro rigs, I needed to have my cummerbund close on the side here. When I did that, it pushed the pockets around the side, so that really I was only getting to use that first one for the one tourniquet. If I put a Quick Clot or something behind that, it was going to be real hard to grab if I needed to. When you put the A&A Tactical on here, it changes that, that bare surface to your Velcro surface. So even now, if I'm closing up front, with better usability of the pockets on the sides here, I can still throw my placard on and it'll retain itself pretty well. That'll come up in another video that I'm going to do here on the EOD insert that they just put out. So this is basically made the First Spear a much more capable rig for carrying medical supplies and tools and ammo if needed. One last consideration here. I meant to throw one of these in off the bat, but I ran out of cells because I filled them up with goofy, unlikely items. These will fit the Motorola XTS 3000s with plenty of stretch left for the Jedi adapter on the side. I don't believe these radios are bigger than Embitters and 152s. However, what I've noticed switching back and forth between the 152 and this is that once you throw that side adapter on there, this thing tends to not fit in pouches designed for the perfectly squared off 152 with everything coming off the top. So that's a good consideration. I didn't grab a 152 when I was doing this, but I would imagine that'll fit in here just as well. It'll ride a little bit taller, it's a taller radio, but if this is the back cell and you've got access to a KDU or something like that, you shouldn't have any issues using this for a radio, especially since it's butted up right against the Velcro. You're not going to have any problems with this flopping around. I'd have no issues telling people that this will fit a 152. A little bit of a pipe dream on my part when I was finding stuff that'll fit in these. I gave a 762 PMAG a try. It will not fit. It'll start, but you won't get past the magwell portion here. So if you're getting one of these and you think there's any way you're going to fit 762 mags in there, I would not bother. AK mags will fit, but just like any pouch that you're using AK mags on, the tab on the magazine is going to snag like nobody's business when you're trying to retrieve it from the pouch. You might be able to make it work for you if your concern is more so along the lines of just throwing in some extra ammo, and maybe you've got some pouches on the front of your vest that you can fit your primary mags in. You might have decent luck with that. Please excuse me for my meme-worthy 40-round AK mag. I just wanted to show you that it will in fact fit. There's the tab, and you can see how it's probably going to catch on that, especially when this thing is tied up against your body. But it does fit. With 30-round mags in here, they're not going to fall out. And you may have better luck than I do using one of these and getting the magazines out of there with any sort of efficiency. M4 mags, if you can reach them, are no problem in any of these pouches, but like I said, the first two cells are basically where I'm limited to. The back two, I'd probably stick in a radio or maybe some additional med supplies to make use of them, or just leave them empty altogether and only use it for the elastic functionality of the Cummerbund.